Dear students, now we shall discuss about 10th standard social science subject in history. The beginning lesson, the extension of the British rule in India. We have discussed about Britishers. They have conquered and became successful, defeated all arrival of Europeans to India. Now, how they expand of the empire to the other places in India. See, in this chapter, introduction is there. What were the objectives? And first Anglo-Maratha Wars and second Anglo-Maratha War. One by one we shall learn in this chapter. First of all, I will give you some hints about the lesson. Here, through Carnatic Wars, the English had made other European countries not to challenge them in India. They gained complete political control over Bengal through Plassey and Buxar battles by 1765. Before that, we have studied about some Carnatic wars. In these wars, they become successful. In the Carnatic wars also, we have seen and understood. And Plassey battle and Buxar battle, British defeated the Indian some peoples. They become successful during 1765. Okay. They had gained control over what of the eastern parts of India through these battles. That means Plassey battle and Buxar battle, they have gained full monopoly over the eastern parts of India. Since the Marathas and also Mysore states were dominant in southern and western part of India. So, all Indian kings defeated by Britishers during that period, but remaining kingdoms are not defeated by British. Which were those? Those are Marathas and Mysore. That means southern and eastern part of Indian kingdoms. So, the hold of British was restricted to Bengal and Bombay regions only. In that time, the Britishers they have full hold over Bengal provinces and Bombay residents also during that time. Now, they wanted to extend their supremacy, their kingdom to the southern and eastern part of India. Here, the eminent figures in Mysore state, Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan of Mysore along with Peshwas of Marathas. So here the remaining people, they are fit and strong kings in the Mysore and Marathas Peshwas, and Sikhs in the north side also, and western region were the only impediments in the path of expansion for the British. So these people, they are not given the opportunity to expand their supremacy over India British by these peoples. And also Ranjit Singh, who emerged in the later part of 19th century, was a formidable upon the British. He was successful in organizing the Sikhs. So in this way, the Ranjit Singh also became strong king and fought against the British rule and proved as a strong king in the Punjab region during that time. What were the objectives of this lesson? See, we shall learn in that chapter Anglo-Maratha Wars. Among them, first, second, third, Lapsey. Doctrine of Lapsey introduced by Lord Housey. And next subsidiary alliance also introduced by Lord Wellesley. These points also discussing in that chapter one by one. Now we shall go to discuss about first Anglo-Maratha wars. The Anglo-Maratha wars, the Britishers and Marathas happened some wars. These are called Anglo-Maratha wars. They were three Maratha Anglo-Maratha wars. See, the British also repeated wars from mid of 18th century to mid of 19th century to extend their empire in India. So in that time, the Marathas also they have ambition to expand their empire. During the same time, the Britishers also in between the 18th and 19th century, they have wanted to establish their supremacy over India. Apart from this, they also annexed various kingdoms with cunning policies like subsidiary and also doctrine of lapse. See, Marathas they have great ambitions to expand their empire within Maratha provinces. But during that time, the Britishers also implemented two important cunning policies to suppress the Indian kings, particularly Marathas and Mysore's and Sikhs also. So these are the important cunning policies, subsidiary alliance and also doctrine of lapse. Next we will see and understand what subsidiary alliance and what is doctrine of lapse. During this period, the British waged three Anglo-Maratha wars and four Anglo-Mysore wars. So Britishers faced three Anglo-Maratha wars and four Anglo-Mysore wars and two Anglo-Sikh wars. Since the Anglo-Mysore wars discussed in Unit 4, and here we shall understand the wars of the British with Marathas and Sikhs. Next point is there. First of all, Anglo-Maratha wars. When it begins? So, in 1775, the Anglo-Maratha war started and ended 1782 with the Salbay Agreement. See, what was the reason? Already we have discussed in previous class in Buxar War. See, the Maratha instilled Shah Alam II back on the throne of Mughal Empire in Delhi. See, Shah Alam come back from the empire in Delhi as a Shah Alam II from the throne of Mughal Empire. See the picture of Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. He got some places by the Britishers during the Buxar War. So he got it and continued it. Next, Shah Alam was under the care of British after the defeat in Buxar War. When he became defeated by the British, he is working under the care of British Shah Alam II. That's why he has given some places. So the emperor gave Kora and Allahabad to Marathas, which he had earlier given them to the Britishers. So these places are given to the Britishers early. So this time Shah Alam became the Mughal Emperor. So he gave Kora and Allahabad to the Marathas. So it made the Britishers enemies and hated. So this is the main reason for the First Anglo-Maratha War. That means Kora and Allahabad have given by the Shah Alam II to the Marathas. Before or earlier, these places are given to the Britishers. So that is reason due to the First Anglo-Maratha War. Shah Alam II start the First Anglo-Maratha War. So what is the result of that? See, that enmity between Marathas and the Britishers. So Marathas and Britishers enmity started. During this period, the death of Maratha strong man, mother of Peshwa, was major setback to the Marathas. In that time, the mother of Peshwa became death. That is the main reason for the second reason for the Anglo-Maratha first war. Raghova. Raghova not intended to Narendra became a king. So he murdered him immediately. So this is hatred started, result in the infighting for the Peshwa. So immediately when Narendra became dead by Raghova, so that place became vacant. Number of Marathas started infighting to the court of Maratha Peshwa. So here the Maratha Federation brought Madhavrao second. Immediately the Maratha Federation also was there. So that is nominated the Madhavrao second of Narendra to the court of Peshwa because Narendra death. So his son became Madhavrao second, the Peshwa. So in that time, the upset with this development, Raghova approached the British for support. So this internal fighting with the Marathas for the court of Peshwa encashed by the British during the Raghova. Raghova wanted to become the Maratha Peshwa, but Narendra seated. But he was killed by Raghova. But Maratha Federation nominated the Narendra's son, Madhavrao II, as the Peshwa. So that is made the anxious to the Raghova. Raghova immediately wanted to get the support of British and fighting with the internal Marathas. So the British thought of exploiting this situation in their favor. So Britishers already wanted to encash such situation and support to the Raghova immediately. So a long war was waged from 1775 to 1782 between the Marathas and the British. So this war happened between 1777 to 1782. Marathas and Britishers. Here Raghova supported to the British supported to the Raghova. So that war happened from 77 to 82. That was ended with the Treaty of Salbai. See, initial the Maratha gained upper hand. During that time, they became upper hand of Maratha. Later, they had to lose Allahabad to the British. Immediately, the Marathas also ready to give the Allahabad place to the Britishers. So that time the agreement also happened. Maratha Federation unable to settle the war with the British finally entered Salbai agreement. So Maratha Federation also not ready to fight against the Britishers. So they came to the agreement that is called Salbai agreement. The Salbai agreement happened between the Marathas and the Britishers. Okay. So according to that agreement, Madhavrao II was named as the permanent Peshwa. Already Peshwa, but after the Allahabad given to the Britishers, the Britishers also give the opportunity to the Madhavrao II as named as a Peshwa here. Next, Lord Wellesley came to as a Governor General during 1788 and 1805. He was ambitious to extend the supremacy over South India also. That's why the expansion of the British Empire took place in a larger pace after the arrival of Lord Wellesley as the Governor General of India. See the picture of Lord Wellesley. By this time, the powerful states of Marathas and also Mysore had become weak and expansion was easier. During that time, the Mysore state became also weaker and also Maratha state also become some weaker. See, he has seen to get gained powerful over that place and moved. What were the policies Lord Wellesley followed to expand the British Empire? Lord Wellesley implemented cunning policies in India to acquire the South India. So, what were these? The subsidiary alliance and another one is doctrine of Leipzig. But here, Lord Wellesley followed three policies to expand the British Empire in India. One, they were subsidiary alliance. What were the policies implemented by Lord Wellesley? One is subsidiary alliance. Second one, waging war against the new states. They start the waging war against the new which were the states and administrating the states directly that were under the control of the British. So subsidiary alliance, waging war against new states, and up to now lapsing, but the state directly that were under the control of the British also. So first of all, we have to study about what is subsidiary alliance, who introduced it, what were the main objectives. See, during 1798, Lord Wellesley implemented the subsidiary alliance. What is subsidiary alliance? See, this was basically a military protection agreement. Subsidiary alliance means it is one of the military protection agreement, one state to another with the Britishers, and the East India Company and the Indian state. So the British subsidiary alliance, that means the military protection between East India Company and the Indian state, that is a protection of agreement. That is called subsidiary alliance. The condition of subsidiary alliance. The question may ask to your examination, what are the conditions of subsidiary alliance? See one by one. The first one point, the Indian king had to keep the British army in his kingdom. One point, those who were entered into the subsidiary alliance of the provincial king, they have to keep one British troop in their kingdom and protect it. One point. And second, the concerned state had to bear the expense of the army and the wages of soldiers, and also had to give certain renewal lands as well as. And the Indian king, they have to bear the expense of the army, bear the expense of all expense of the army, one thing. And they should, Indian king, they should give wages of the British soldiers, and last one, they have to give revenue lands as well as. Okay, second point. The third point, the king has to have a British resident in his court. Any provincial king, they have to give the opportunity to live their kingdom a British resident in their court. In their court. King. The king could not appoint any other European without the permission of the British. Say, anything the king should do should get the permission from the British. That means the king could not appoint any other European. Number of people arrived to India, but without the prior permission of the British, the Indian king could not appoint any other Europeans here. Next point, in order to enter any agreement to pact with any Indian government, the permission of the Governor General was mandatory. So, the one king, kings ready to commit with the another king or another provinces, another government, another people, everyone should get permission from the Governor General of British. That was the mandatory. Last one, in return of all these services, they have to give some these services. The company would offer here protection to the state from any internal and external aggression. No one do any internal and external aggression during that time. Okay, next I will continue next point in next class. Thank you.